Hey everybody, it's Andrew Hutchings here, wearing a shirt that I may not take off in this video. Still not a doctor, never giving medical advice, just consolidating medical information, putting it in one place along with my opinion. This video is about steroid half-lives and how they're actually a little bit more complicated than like a straightforward drug half-life. So typically a drug, let's say amphetamine or ibuprofen or something, the half-life is the half-life of that molecule in the body, how long it takes for your body to break down. Well, the important part is the breaking down of the molecule. I was about to say excrete it, but really it's only how long it takes to break it down. So say you take an ibuprofen, I don't know what the half-life is, let's say it's 6 hours. That means in 6 hours you have half as much ibuprofen, meaning that you now have half as much of the, so when you first take it, once it gets to maximum levels in your system, you have 100% of that ibuprofen pill is now in your body and active. 6 hours later, if that was the half-life, you now have only half of that ibuprofen pill in your body and active. The thing about steroid half-lives is, for oral steroids, it's the same thing, unless they're a prodrug, in which case it'd be different. But for injectable steroids, the half-life of the actual steroid is only going to be about a few hours still, unless it's some weird exception. So how is it that the half-lives are like multiple days or weeks? Well, it's the time it takes to get out of that oil and then go through its actual molecular half-life. So say you inject 100 milligrams of testosterone enanthate, and let's say the half-life is 1 week. You have, so remember how I said with the ibuprofen, when it gets to maximal levels, you have 100% of it active? Well, the testosterone's a little bit different because some of it stays in that oil. It doesn't, I mean, at some point in time later on, it's all going to have been used up. But for the first day, let's say, or 2 days, whatever, you're not getting all of that steroid. It's like a time release mechanism. So the half-life isn't actually of the molecule, which affects how you should think about dosages. So say the half-life is 1 week and you inject 100 milligrams. You are not actually getting 100 milligrams in that week. You're getting about 50. Because the other 50 has not been released into the body. It's just in the oil, not doing anything in the body. So that's an interesting thing that is generally overlooked, and I myself in other videos, when I've been talking about things, I have never really specified this because it's not the most important thing for most people to think about. But that means that a single injection of like 100 milligrams of testosterone enanthate, if the half-life is 1 week, you're going to get about 50 milligrams in that first week, which is about normal physiological levels of testosterone. Yeah. However, when you take another injection, the second week, then you get the other 50 that hadn't been released. That gets released during that second week, plus your 50 from the 100 you took the second week. So now you're at 100, and then it builds up. So the reason I hadn't really talked about this in other videos is because after a couple weeks, after like 1 week, it becomes unimportant. It's only really important if you were to take like a single injection, or if you were to take an injection, wait for it to completely clear the system, and take another one. Or if you just wait long enough that it never makes up for the fact that each injection isn't truly getting all of that into your system in the way you might think. Sorry if I'm explaining it kind of excessively and confusingly. I don't know if it is confusing for you, hopefully it's not. But yeah, it does end up building up in your system, and then the weeks kind of pile on top of each other, so it becomes irrelevant. But it's still nice to know that that half-life is not, so I think most people have the thought that if you take like a 200 milligram injection, that it's like you get 200 milligrams in you at the beginning and then it wears off. When in reality, it's like because normal drug half-life, it gets in you and it's 100% of the drug dosage you took, and then it wears off according to half-lives. But with steroid injections, that half-life is considering its release into your body, and then its elimination. But the elimination is only a few hours, so it's really the half-life of it being released. So it's like an opposite half-life, in a way. It's the half-life of the steroid in the oil, not the half-life of the steroid in your body. And you inject the oil into your body. Yes, it's in your body, but it's not in your circulation active. So if you were to inject 1,000 milligrams, and the half-life is 1 week, you'd get like 500 that first week, then you get 500 the next week, or hold on a second, I'm also kind of tired. So half-life is 1 week. So you get 500, sorry, my brain was not working. That's why I paused and thought about it for a second. You get 500 the first week, and then you'd get 250 the next week, and so on. So it's really not complicated, it's just that, like I already said, with most drugs, you start out at 100% of the dosage and you work your way down, whereas I guess you could basically simplify it to this. With steroid injections, you start out with about half of the dosage, but it's not even that simple, because it's not like you inject it and all of a sudden half is in you. It's that during that time period of the first half-life, you get half of that dosage. So if you do a 1,000 milligram injection of testosterone enanthate and the half-life is 1 week, it means that during that entire first week, you'd have 500 milligrams spread out during it. And it's not like you get 1/7 of 500, 1/7 of 500, and so on. I'm not exactly sure the exact release. You could theorize, but at the end of the day, the best way would be to do actual blood tests every single day and measure it on multiple people and see exactly how it's released from the oil into circulation. So yeah, probably this will never be important for you, but it's just nice to know. So say you were talking about a dose of testosterone that would be like a physiological replacement dose. So the human body makes about 50 milligrams per week. But if you were to take one single 50 milligram injection of like testosterone enanthate, that would not be enough. Because remember, you only get about 25 of that during your first week. So if you're only trying to replace your testosterone for like 1 or 2 weeks, you would want to take double that amount and then lower it down as the previous weeks start building up. I've covered this in other videos, and not specifically, just I've tossed it out there while I'm talking about other things. So say you take 50 milligrams. So the first week you would have like 25, the next week you'd have 25 plus 50, the next week you'd have 12.5 plus 25 plus 50, and eventually it's going to build up to be like 100. So the only difference between all my other videos where I've mentioned this and now is that I'm telling you that for that very first week, you have 25 and not 50. So yeah, not the most important video, not the most interesting thing, but I find it interesting to think about that fact. I don't spend hours thinking about it, but it's good to know. I was snowed in for the last couple days or few days, so I have not gone to the gym in a while. Plus, I had final exams before that, so I wasn't going to the gym. So I have pretty much not worked out in about 2 weeks. And I'm not sure why my throat's getting like this. Kind of running out of things to talk about in videos, so if you have any ideas, leave some comments. Just anything that you're wondering and you're not sure about, ask me. I'll let you know. And if I don't know, I will look into it. Check out my other videos, like and subscribe. Check out my Instagram, natural_true_fitness. My website, andrewhutchins.org. You can hire me for training advice, diet advice. What was I? Oh, I can't show you what I was just eating because the salsa's holding my phone up, and chips. It's a good low-calorie option if you're trying to not eat too many calories, because it's just like chopped up vegetables, and then chips just don't eat put a lot of salsa on each chip. But I don't believe in boring diets. Like, I eat ice cream almost every day. I eat pretty much what I want to eat. But you have to build a healthy mind-body relationship first, so that you don't desire so much more than you need. You want to desire around what you need. And then you choose consciously at some point during the day, okay, right now I'm going to eat less than I want to eat. And if you eat just a little bit less than you want to eat a lot of the days, then you can eat a little bit more than you should eat on a little bit less of the days than you eat less than you should. As long as you're just chipping away little by little, you lose weight. So 4 days out of the week, you can eat like 200 calories less than you should. And then 3 days out of the week, you can eat 200 calories more than you should. Or 1 day out of the week, 400 calories more, or whatever. You can hire me for supplement ingredient explanations, supplement advice. You cannot hire me for medical advice because that would be illegal, but you can hire me to consolidate medical information along with my opinion, my non-doctorly opinion, which someday may be a doctorly opinion. I mean, to be honest, it's already a doctorly opinion, even though I'm not a licensed medical doctor, don't have a medical degree. But I do not, well, it's not just that I don't believe, it's a fact that having a degree does not make you what you got your degree in. Being licensed in something does not make you that something that you got licensed in. You can have the coach or whoever hires people to be on basketball teams hire me to be on a professional basketball team. Doesn't make me a basketball player or a professional basketball player, whatever you want to call it. No matter what degree or certification or being hired to do, no matter what you do and make me officially a basketball player, I'll never actually be a basketball player. Or I could say, I'll never be a pro basketball player. You could give me every certification in the world to be a musician, but I will never be I mean, maybe someday I will turn into a musician, but yeah, okay, let's just say trombone player. I don't even know what a trombone looks like. I just know it's an instrument. But you can give me some sort of legal documentation that says I am a trombone player. You can send me to trombone school. I can learn how to play a trombone. I will never be a trombone player. I am a doctor and a scientist. I'm not a licensed doctor. I don't have a medical degree. Just like technically I don't yet have a degree in science. And it doesn't make any difference. Right now, I am just as much of a scientist as I will be in 7 months when I have my degree. It's not like I get my degree and, oh, now I'm a real scientist. No, you can have a PhD and you can not be a scientist. Having a degree does not make you something. You are what you are. Some people are born to be police officers. Some people are born to be detectives. Some people are born to be ditch diggers. Some people are born to be psychologists, therapists, whatever. And if you're not born to be that, you can learn how to do it. You can do it, but you'll never truly be like someone who is born to do that. Some people are born to be Olympic gymnasts. Yes, they do still have to train to do it, but that's how they were born to be that. It's just instilled in their DNA. It's really too bad that in our society and world today we think in such ridiculous ways. Like, I understand the need to license doctors. I think it's good, but I don't like. Sorry, you probably can't hear me. I don't like, number one, having this line of thought that you are only something if you get your degree. I want to become a doctor. There's no such thing as becoming a doctor. You can get a degree in medicine. You can become licensed to work as a doctor. You can work as a doctor someday, but you can never become a doctor. Just like you can't unbecome a doctor. It's not something that changes. You either are a doctor or you're not a doctor. You either are a scientist or you're not a scientist. Maybe you don't discover it about yourself until later in life, but you were always a scientist, unless you had some sort of epigenetic change in your body go on and weird stuff happens and you change some way. But that's not the same as getting a degree in something. And then the other thing I don't like is how people become, I got caught in that stupid thing. People go on to work jobs in professions that they're really not meant to do. Like, people become doctors, for example, just because of the money, or because they want to be respected, or to impress their parents, or because whatever the stupid reason is. Most people do not work as whatever they go on to work as because it's truly who they are. Now, some people, yes, but most people, no. Like, even people I'm close with want to work as certain professions, and it's like, obviously they know themselves better than I know themselves, but I know and they know that they're not truly a person that is that profession. Yes, I'm sure they would do fine working in those professions, just like I would do fine working as a crane operator. But I don't know if anyone can be born to be a crane operator. It's because that's not really like a way of being, but you get my point. It's really a shame because, for example, with doctors, people who are not doctors get licensed to work as doctors just because they studied it and memorized some stuff in school. And I don't say learn, because there's a difference between learning something and reading it and memorizing it. And it's not even the difference that you would automatically think of, oh, learning it is like you really understand it versus reading and memorizing it is reading and memorizing. So yeah, it goes reading and memorizing, really understanding from your reading, and actually learning. The difference between learning and reading and understanding is you go hiking in the snow and it turns out that it's a blizzard and you didn't wear warm clothing and you go, shit, I'm cold. You learn that you need warm clothing versus someone tells you, oh, you need to wear warm clothing to go out there. You don't actually know that. You just are going based off something someone told you. Yes, you can read all about all the different things in the human body, but you didn't actually learn that. You just read it. It makes sense. And yeah, I mean, I've done that with a lot of stuff, but most important is truly learning it. Now, most people, if you're not born to be something, you're probably not going to put yourself in situations to truly learn it. And you can go, well, I didn't have the opportunities, blah, blah, blah. Well, you only didn't have them because you didn't care so much about it that it's just who you are and you did it. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and give people appendectomies for practice and learn how to do them that way. It is beneficial to, first of all, do them legally as a licensed doctor and to understand it from a book. I mean, for appendectomy, you don't even need to understand it, you just need to memorize it. But for more complicated things, you should first understand it, then do it and actually learn. And I know I'm going on and on. It's just such a shame. If I work as a doctor someday, I'm gonna have a tough time with the other doctors because most of them are not doctors, and I have this much respect for them. Yes, I respect if they actually end up helping people, even if they're not a true doctor. But yeah, just because someone has a degree or a license or something, that means this much to me, and it shouldn't mean that much to you. I mean, maybe it means like that much that they could actually memorize it and stuff, and they put the effort in. But who knows? Maybe that actually means less than zero because it means that they didn't live a life. That's how a lot of university students are. They have no life experience, no worldly knowledge, no nothing, because they spend 100% of their time memorizing or sometimes understanding things for school. Such a crazy way of being. It's sad and it's bad. Hopefully someday it changes, but people are stupid and people want to do things for genuine reasons. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with becoming a doctor to make money. Well, actually, it probably is, because you're probably going to end up hurting people because you're not truly a doctor. When you're not truly something, you're probably not going to do as good as someone who really is that something. And yeah, I'm gonna put rant in the title of my video because I'm just hanging out and talking with you because I'm bored. And I'm thirsty too, but I don't, yeah. I know where I put my water. I'm not gonna fill up a new cup right now. And I'll just call it on that.